we're talking about this right now too, is getting back to some of the basics that we talked about inside of Lifestyle Wealth, especially during this month, is one of the most important things that you can do because making offers, and I'm going to go through 4 steps to be able to do it today. But making offers and just having dialogue again with a lot of your leads are just non-negotiables, no matter what time of year it is, but especially for September, because we want to get people on the rails again in terms of what would it look like to work with you? What are their goals? And being able to potentially position our services as the best way to move forward. Because there are, if you guys have been watching some of the done for you content stuff, we're kind of in the stage now in the year where we're starting to count down. Right. In terms of New Year's is about 16 weeks away. And this is kind of the last significant runway, I would say now until 12 weeks out, to really set a good health and fitness foundation, right? And make measurable progress going into 2026. So this is a really good time of year as to position some of your content with that theme, with that angle in mind, and be able to get some ideal types of clients that you guys might have in your pipeline off the fence and into your ecosystem, which is what I'm going to talk about today. So there's 4 main steps to make this very, very simple inside of today's training, and more importantly, actionable, so that we can put some of this together and make sure that we're having good conversations and just moving our pipeline forward, because that's definitely something. It doesn't matter where any of you guys are at inside your coaching business, including me. It's just something we need to do consistently, day in and day out. So the first step is looking at your pipeline and having dialogue again, right? Like this is the first step is before we do anything, before we send value videos, whatever it may be, we need to get an understanding of where some of our ideal types of clients are at. So first step, and like Alvi, this is exactly what you're doing. Dustin, you were messaging me just before this. This is exactly what you're doing as well, is looking at your pipeline and addressing the next best step based off where they're at. Right. So depending on what that last message was, depending on how much time has gone by since you guys last connected with some of your leads, we want to get back on their radar. We want to reconnect in some way. So this is basic what I'm about to share with you, but sometimes just the basics done well is all you need, right, to get these conversations going again and to get to the next step. So I'm going to go through a couple of different ways to reconnect. This is a very soft one, obviously, and pretty self-explanatory, but just reconnecting with some of the people that you've been talking to over the last 6 months and simply asking how their summer was. I know it's like the most basic thing ever, but honestly, for some of the ideal clients that you guys might be speaking to, especially if you already have rapport built and you've already got a little bit of a relationship established, like just reconnect and ask how their summer was. There's probably maybe 5 to 10 really good ideal types of clients in your lead list right now, that you literally just need to start dialogue with again. Right. And this is just a really good opener, especially this time of year. Just like, hey, Jack, just wanted to reconnect, man. How was your summer? Right. Or, hey, Lori, hope all is well. How was your summer? What's your main focus going into the fall? Right. Like, basics, but just getting conversations rolling again, just reconnecting as kind of a soft opener, and going from there, because there's different ways that an answer to this question could go, right? Like, oh, hey, Ashley, thanks for reconnecting with me. Summer was crazy. Like kids did this, family vacation, blah, blah, blah. Went by so fast. Thanks for reminding me. I actually want to come into the gym, right? Or thanks for reconnecting. I actually been meaning to talk to you. Right? Like this could go any different way, but just sending out some of these messages to some people on your list just gets that dialogue back and forth going again, because all good things, all client acquisition processes come first from that dialogue, from that back and forth. So something as simple as this, and I'm starting with the easiest one first, but something as easy as this is a really good way to just get on people's radar again. Depending on your clients and depending on your leads, I should say, in terms of where they're at and some of the back and forth that you've had, you can take this one step deeper and you can ask them what their goals are before the new year comes, right? Like we've got a little bit of a runway now, 16 weeks, depending on the math in terms of when you're having conversations with your leads. And depending on where your conversation has ended off, this is a good question just to get clarity on A, where they're at, but then also B, what's their main focus for the next 3 to 4 months, right? And maybe getting a little bit more clear on a micro goal that they, instead of like a big overarching lifestyle goal, maybe there's more of a micro goal that they have over the next 3 to 4 months that they want to achieve, right? Or they're focused on. And that's really good for you guys to know because that's creating the gap, right? That's you understanding where they're at now, where they want to get to. And again, potentially offering your services as something that can bridge them, get them from where they are now to where they want to get to. So just understanding like what's your main focus health and fitness wise before the new year comes. That's a soft way of asking it. But for some of your ideal clients and some people who are rather responsive and you've got good relationships with, that's one way to just restoke the conversation, right? And have more timeliness because obviously we've got 16 weeks left, more timeliness with your conversations. Instead of asking like general questions, this is a little bit more specific based off the time of year that we're at. And you could go even deeper with it here too. This is a little bit more specific, but I could be like, hey, Alvi, just wanted to reconnect, man, with the year wrapping up. What's the number one health and fitness goal that you'd love to hit before the year ends? Right. So I'm asking pretty much the same thing here, but I'm just being a little bit more specific with it and positioning it in more of a clear way. So that's another way to ask it. These are some basic messages, guys, but and obviously you guys use your own words and how you guys communicate and with your own language. But good ways just to reconnect with people on your list, right? And get conversations flowing again, because that's the first thing. Like if you want to send value videos, if you want to book calls, no matter what it is, none of that stuff can take place unless we're first reconnecting with our leads and having some of these conversations, right? And sending some of these messages. So more so good reminders than anything, but something that just needs to be done in order to take the next step. So those are some basic messages. And Dustin, I'll get you to speak to this in a second because this worked really well for you. But this is if you're having someone who's not responding, or there's a lead that you're having a conversation with and you're not really sure if it's going anywhere. They're not really giving you good answers or good energy, whatever it may be. You could ask something like this. Now, obviously, have discernment with this. Like you only want to send a message like this with some of your highest quality ideal types of clients that you guys might be speaking to right now. But this is something that works really well for a lot of clients that I work with and would work well for you guys too. And Dustin, I'll get you to explain what you did just recently that worked well to get a conversation back on the rails. If someone's busy or if you know you're speaking to a good ideal type of client, but they haven't responded in a while or it's been a little bit, what I would ask is something like this, like, hey, Dan, if you don't mind me asking, what's your mailing address? I want to send something your way that's helped a lot of my clients. Okay. So almost if they see this message, almost 9 times out of 10, they're going to respond. So it gets the conversation flowing again, right? That's the first thing. It gets the response. Second thing is you want to follow through with this. And what I normally recommend, but you guys could do anything here, as long as they're an ideal client, what I would recommend is just Amazon Prime them a book in the mail, right? Something that has to do with your methodology, something that has to do with your coaching, or it could be anything. There's many different things that you could send in the mail, but this is kind of like business and marketing 101 that's been taught for 100 years, right? Is sending stuff in the mail. But in today's day and age, with the amount of messages people are getting, ChatGPT, just everything, emails, like we're inundated with electronic messages all the time, right? We just are. Getting something in the mail is like a complete, like, whoa, right? It actually gets your attention. It actually like makes you pause for a minute and think about someone. This is a good way to be able to A, get the conversation flowing again, but then also B, potentially warm up an ideal type of client that you're speaking to in a very short amount of time by going just one step further than I can almost guarantee a lot of your competitors are willing to go. So this is something that can help. And Dustin, if you don't mind sharing, because you and I applied this for one of your leads the other day, and it worked very well in terms of getting a conversation flowing again. Can you share kind of that example, if you don't mind?
Sure. Yeah, so I had a conversation, a phone call with a guy just to learn a little bit more. He was a referral. what he's going through, what he wants, and all of that kind of stuff. So I created a value video for him. I sent it out. I know he's a pretty busy guy. So a few days later, I just followed up. It's like, hey, did you get my value video? Did anything like spark interest or bring value to you? Crickets. So I asked Will, I was like, hey, like I don't want to just keep bugging him asking if he saw the value video or not. So Will was like, okay, like why don't you ask him for his address and then you can send him a book or so in the mail. So I was like, I don't know this guy really well, but I have nothing to lose. So I did ask him, and right away he responded within like minutes, saying like, "Hey, here's my address. Please keep it confidential. But I had a really good conversation with you. I will come back to you regarding the value video." And I was like, "Great." So I mailed him a book actually because he just had cancer, went through chemo, and is recovering. So I looked up online, okay, what's the best book to send him that actually suits his situation? So I mailed it to him. It is coming in a couple of days. But also at the same time, I'm having a hangout on Sunday with some of my community. So I was like, he's local. I'm like, hey, by the way, I don't know if it's your thing, but if you want, why don't you come along as well? Because he said before that he wants to meet community, make new friends, and all of that kind of stuff. So he's like, okay, yeah, I'm totally down. So it's actually cool. Then hopefully he's coming on Sunday. I get to know him in person. He gets to know me. He meets community, and then we can go from there. But just having a different kind of offering instead of just beating down on like, hey, did you watch it? Did you watch it? Did you watch it? It opened up a whole another conversation, which was awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. That's actually like almost a textbook example. Like almost couldn't have gone better. But there's a few elements there that Dustin just went through that I want to make sure we're all on the same page on. Number one, after you send a value video or whatever it is, even if a lead isn't responding in some way, the last thing you want to do is follow up a million times, right? Like I know some people teach that, but in my opinion, like as soon if you follow up once and they don't respond, you have to change the subject because if you don't, now you're, in my opinion, kind of like being needy, kind of being annoying, and like there's almost no shot you're gonna position yourself well as the coach that they want to hire at that point, right? So the reason why something like this works so well is because A, you're kind of changing the energy of the conversation a little bit, and instead of like being needy and following up, you're saying like, "Hey, I want to continue to serve you in some way. Do you mind sending me your mailing address? I want to send you something," right? 9 times out of 10, if you're going to send me something free in the mail, sure, why not? Like, I don't know what it is, but we all love free stuff. You guys ever go to sports games and see how some people go freaking nuts? Like some like 40, 50-year-old men go nuts for a free t-shirt. Like it's just human nature. Like anything we're getting for free, it's like, yeah, sure, I'll sign up for that. Anyway, so that's one way to just get some conversations back on the rails. But to Dustin's point, the beautiful thing about it, if you've already had a little bit of a back and forth, which obviously Dustin had, you can send them something specific to their situation, right? So for Dustin, obviously, this individual is going through chemo or did go through chemo and now is getting back on track. So Dustin was able to send something very specific to this lead, which is great because now it's very individualized. It's very specific, very thoughtful, and just that simple act is probably going to take this lead from like a 5 out of 10 warm to a 8 out of 10 warm, right? Just like that. So one way to go about it, guys, again, this is more of a tactic than it is anything. But just something that could potentially help for some of your leads, depending on where they're at. And it is worth, like, I know it's whatever, $12, right? Whatever it is, for Amazon Prime, whatever it is that you're sending. But honestly, doing this like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times a month, like it adds up and you will get clients from it. You absolutely will. So just something to have in your tool belt when it comes to just restoking conversations and getting people back on the rails when it comes to conversations. So that's one element of things. Oh, got a question. Justin, this is also a great long-term play when you're ready for help every time they look at the book. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, even if they don't sign on right now, right? Depending on what you sent them, if it's something that sits on their bookshelf or whatever it is, whatever you sent, they're going to get reminded, right, of you. And that's something that you want. right? You want to get on people's radar. That's the first step. So that's step number one. Step number two, and this is something I've spoken about to a few of you, but I'll speak about it again. Calling clients, calling clients. Do this like publicly through your social media. Um, if you need clients, like if you're in a position where you need clients, like you want to grow your client roster, I would personally call in clients at the last week of every month, almost. Like, yeah, maybe you can take a month or two off here and there, but I would call clients in at the last week of almost every month for two main reasons. Reason number one is exactly what I'm talking about here in step two. It just publicly promotes that, hey, by the way, I'm taking on my next five clients to achieve XYZ goal before 2025 ends. And it just announces to your audience what you're like, you're a coach for hire, right? Like sometimes, again, I know this is basic stuff that I'm talking about, but sometimes your clients need to be reminded, or your audience, I should say, needs to be reminded that, hey, yeah, you can work with Justin. He's not just a content creator on Instagram. You can actually work with him. Like the amount of when I was running Schiller Fitness, the amount of messages that I got from people asking like what I actually did for a living was wild. Because they loved my content, but they didn't know I was an actual coach. Or some of them would ask like, so how does it work? Like, do you get paid from Instagram to create content and like da da da? Like they didn't understand the business model, right? Like some people are still like that. That was obviously years ago, but some people are still like that. Like they might not know they can hire you. They might not know you're taking on a few clients. You have spots on your roster. We have to continually remind them. So I would do this once a month. At the end of every single month, I would strategically design 4 to 6 posts, and you guys have the templates inside of Lifestyle Wealth. And I would call in clients, but I would be consistent with it, right? And this is just an example, but I wouldn't just have a story and then that's it, right? Hey, I'm taking on 5 new clients, and it's just a story that goes away in 24 hours. I would create like 4 to 5 to 6 potential posts around calling in clients, and I would be consistent with it because people need to hear it, right? People need to hear it multiple times. They're probably not going to take an action immediately. They need to hear it twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times before it finally gets on their radar. Especially with, and you guys can speak to this, especially how we consume content nowadays. We consume content very, very fast and very passively, right? So I might see Dustin is taking on clients as I'm scrolling through my newsfeed, and I might be like, oh, okay, that's cool. But then I'm getting a phone call, right? Or then like, oh, Morgan's calling me, like, or whatever it is. That happens all the time. But if I see it again the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that, maybe now I'm going to opt in. Maybe now I have a minute to breathe, and I'm going to opt in or apply whatever your call to action is. So being consistent with calling in clients in any given like 7 day period at the end of the month, and B, not getting discouraged if one of your posts doesn't work is important because heck, I teach this stuff, right? And sometimes I put out a post and it doesn't work. It's just part of the game. But consistency with this is key, and people need to see it multiple times before they take an action, which brings me to my next step. So, step number two is calling in clients publicly at the end of the month. This is just, and you guys know my views on content, right? Content is a supplement. It's not necessarily that's going to do a ton of heavy lifting for you in terms of client acquisition. It's more so it just supports like the overall ecosystem. It supports what your main goals are. Step number three is individually invite some people on your pipeline to your coaching. Again, not rocket science, but it's just the consistency of this. Because when we couple this strategy with publicly calling in clients, now your audience is thinking, oh, great, like Colby's taking on clients. Interesting, right? Good to know. I haven't taken any action yet, but I just know like a seed's planting it in my head, right? Like, oh, Alvy's taking on a couple new clients before the month ends. Ah, interesting. But I'm still sitting on my ass, right? I'm not doing anything. I'm not taking any action. But then Alvy sends me a DM and he's like, hey, Will, what's going on, man? I know you and I have been going back and forth in the past couple months here on Instagram. I just want to let you know, man, I'm actually taking on a couple new clients this month. Based off what we've spoken about, I actually think you'd be a really good fit for it. If you want me to send over some more information on how I think it could work for you, let me know and we can go from there. Boom. Just that one thing, that one message, that one voice note, value video, whatever it is, that coupled with his marketing strategy, okay, now I'm listening. Now I'm like, oh shit, Alvy actually thinks I'd be a good fit for his program. Let me think about this. Right. Now I went from like passively like being in the background and seeing content to, oh shit, what would it look like to work with Alvy? Right? Like now my brain is starting to go down that loop, which is what you need. That's what you need to get clients, right? Sometimes people come to you just from marketing, which is great, but you don't want to just rely on it. You want to make sure that you're doing some sort of action, which is exactly what this is, which is 100% within your control of individually inviting your top five, three, five, seven, 10 people in your pipeline, depending on what those numbers look like for you. So, doing these two things synergistically together is important. And for some of you guys who want to fill your client roster more, I would plan to do this specifically step number two and step number three. I would plan to do this at the end of honestly every month until the new year. If you want to take a month off, you can. But I would plan to do this at the end of every month because A, you're publicly calling in clients, and then B, you're individually inviting your top leads to your coaching. And those two things, again, they work synergistically together and you're in 100% control of it, right? You set up the marketing and then you can make sure that you're priming your lead list before you get to the end of the month because we can future plan all of this stuff out. So those two things are key. Those two things are key. Step number two, step number three. Um, and then obviously, once you individually invite them, send those messages, like the example I was just talking you through, Alvi, send value videos, right? Book in calls, depending on what you want that next step to be. If you want it to be a value video invitation, you could totally do that. If you want to book in a call because maybe they're a little bit warmer and you want to have a sales call with them, then you can do that, right? But these are the action steps that need to be taken. Now, I want to show you a couple of things. Even if you don't have, let's say, 5 to 10 leads who you can personally invite, sometimes you need to like you can't accept that is my point. Like don't just accept that. Like, oh, I don't have 5 leads, so I guess I'm not inviting anyone to my coaching this month. Make it happen. Make it happen. Sometimes you need to take a shot. Sometimes you need to get reps in because you never know. And I want to show you a couple of things. So this happened to me today. Like this happens to me too, just so you guys know, right? Obviously, horrible follow up here for me, but this is someone who was interested in my coaching. He's actually a local gym owner, really really good guy. And a year ago, like look at that date. That was August 22nd, 2024. A year ago, he wanted a call with me, and I sent him my link to hop on a call with me, and he didn't do anything for a year and a bit, a year and a month, right? And he just messaged, this is from this morning. He just messaged me this morning. He's like, hey, Will, I'm ready. I'm finally ready to try and do something with online clients. Could I book a call with you next week? And we're actually going to meet in person and go from there. But, and excuse my atrocious follow up here because clearly I should have followed up with him way sooner than this. But the reason why I'm saying this is that you want to make sure that you guys are doing this practice. Like I'm zooming out here for a second. You want to make sure that you guys are having these conversations. You want to make sure that you're sending out offers, even if nothing comes from it, because something might come from it down the road, right? Like you might feel like a failure in the moment because you sent out 3 offers and you didn't get any clients from it. But 2 of those people actually might become clients 4 months from now, right? Or 6 months from now. And in fact, that actually happens quite often. Sometimes I use this example all the time. Like sometimes it's like we're farmers, right? And we're planting seeds, and sometimes those seeds sprout very, very fast, and sometimes those seeds take months, if not years, to be able to sprout. And that's exactly what I'm talking about here. So that's why these reps are important because sometimes the opportunity presents itself much later on, and then it's just a bonus. But you need to make sure that you're doing this work. So that's the first thing. Sometimes you need patience. Second thing, sometimes you need to shoot your shot. So this is Daniel Steven. He was an incredible client that I worked with. I've used him in some different examples as well. And he did very, very well in working with me. And this is how it started, right? Like this is when I was in the beginning stages of getting into business consulting. But this is how we started. Like I just reached out to him on LinkedIn and I was like, Daniel, what's going on, man? Looks like you're doing some great things with your coaching. How's the start to 2020, sorry, been for you? Like that was my first message. And then a couple hours later, he didn't even respond. And then a couple hours later, I just sent him a value video. And you can tell I'm an OG on value videos because this was before Loom existed. And I Zoom recorded a value video for him, put it on Google Drive, and sent it to him. Anyway, so that was me like taking my shot. I was like, wow, this is a really good ideal client. I think he could be a good fit for my coaching. And I sent him a value video based off what I think he could improve, what I think my process could do for him. And then this was his first message to me. Hey, Will, it's a pleasure to connect. Thanks for your very kind words, both above and in your video. I appreciate you taking the time to do the research and produce that. So much so, I'd be interested in finding a time to chat to see what slash how your client acquisition strategy differs from a lot of the other business coaches, blah, blah, blah. Right. And him and I worked together for like 2 years after this, multiple times, because we created such a good relationship. Why am I showing you this? I'm showing you this because this is me shooting my shot, right? Obviously, I don't really do much of this anymore because I have a lot of inbound, and some of you guys might be in that position too. But when I was first starting out, I was doing stuff like this all the time. And if you're in that position, you got to do what you got to do, right? And this is me just trying to figure out how to get it on his radar, and I was able to figure that out well. For you guys, you want to do your own version of this, what this looks like, because the beautiful thing about you guys being your own entrepreneur and building your coaching business is that you can strategically pick the clients that you want to work with. Like it is up to you. So understanding this and being able to make things happen is key. Like this is an example of me making things happen at almost thin air, right? It's not, I'm not waiting. I'm not twiddling my thumbs, just hoping clients come to me. Sometimes you got to go to them. Sometimes there might be a good fit in your audience right now, and you need to have a conversation with them and you need to make them an offer. And that's going to get them on their radar again. So, again, just some basics here, guys, and just some reminders, but sometimes we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. Anyway, number four.
Can I ask a quick question about that, Will?
Yeah.
Um, in your version, you send a value video right away. Would you just said, like just start a conversation. Would you recommend, hey, like, just kind of cold outreach and start conversations before reaching, like sending a value video? Or how would you go about sending a value video to a person you haven't really connected with or talked to prior without assuming too much or offending the person? It's like, what do you mean I need fitness? Like, now everyone has like different views of themselves. How would you approach that?
Yeah, so this is an extreme example. I actually wouldn't, for you guys, I wouldn't really do too much of this. This is just me kind of proving a point. Sometimes you need to make stuff happen. But to your point, like in terms of sending out value videos for all you guys with where you're at right now, where I know all your pipelines are, I would always send value videos to warm leads because you guys all have warm leads. You can send value videos to based off what you know about them, right? So I wouldn't really send much out cold unless you have to, and unless you're in that position of in your coaching business. For me, like it's just different because for me, for business consulting, I can like see Daniel's website and I reviewed it and I did some other stuff there, so it was all public facing. For you guys, for fitness, it's a little bit harder, right? Like you would have to be very soft in your approach. Like you don't want to be like, hey, I can tell you need to lose 20 pounds. Here's my process. Obviously, you don't want to go about that. You might want to more so send a value video. If you're sending a value video with not a lot of information, which can be done, you maybe don't want to speak to the person so much. You might want to speak more to your methodology and how it's worked for other clients and how it's worked for your ideal client at large instead of like for the individual. Right. So you're not kind of saying, hey, this could help you, that could help you. It's more so, hey, by the way, here's what I do for XYZ ideal clients, and I can tell you might fit that bill. Let me know if you'd be interested in something like this. Here's my protocol. And then you kind of speak to the overall problem and speak to the overall ideal client instead of speaking to the individual, right? So that's one way you could finesse that. But to my point, I wouldn't really do too much of it because I know you've got some good leads you should work before you do something like that. But that's one way to potentially go about it. Is if you don't know a lot about the individual, never really speak to the individual, speak to kind of the problem or the solution at large, because then it makes it more approachable, if you will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. That's a great point. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's more clear. Thank you.
Yeah. My pleasure, man. And good question. Really, really good question. Okay, the secret weapon. So this is huge. You guys ready for this one? All right. So the first three steps are pretty basic, right? Number one, start dialogue with your leads. Basic. Number two, publicly calling clients at the end of the month. And I wouldn't just do this for September. I'd probably do this for October, November, December. And then you can kind of frame the angle of your marketing as it's getting closer and closer to the new year, right? So it's like there's 3 months left, there's 2 months left. Now in December, it's starting 2026, right? So there's so many different angles you can have with your marketing. And then number three, individually invite 5 to 10 people based off your lead list at the end of every month. So you guys, like, before I get to number four here, like, you guys are starting to see how this stacks, right? Like, if you're calling in clients at the end of every month, you're sending out 5 to 10 personal invitations at the end of every month. Sure, nothing might happen in month one, but if you stack that for month two, month three, month four, like, you guys are putting in the reps, right? Like, good things are going to slowly start to happen. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need that consistency to stack on top of each other. So those are the first three, and those are the most important, because this step number four obviously doesn't work unless you go through those first three steps. So step number four is, this is more of an advanced strategy. It's actually more of a tactic, but it's also a bit of a strategy. If you get their mailing address, then you can send them something like this. And this is something I would reserve, because there's a little bit of legwork here. This is something I would reserve for, like, the highest ticket one-on-one client that you guys would want to work with. I wouldn't necessarily do this with just anyone. I would only do this with, like, the premium type clients that you guys want to work with. But this strategy works very, very well. So this is something that I've worked on with some one-on-one clients and some different businesses that I'm a part of, for more so for one-on-one private coaching clients. And it works very, very well. Knock on their door. You could do that, Jacob. You absolutely could. This is a little bit different. This is what I call the performance enhancer for your value videos. Okay. So this is me really hyping it up here. Not sure if you guys have seen something like this before, but if you guys do get their mailing address, and if you guys are in a position in your coaching where sending out Loom videos is good, but sometimes it kind of gets lost in the shuffle just with emails or messages and things like that. And sometimes your value videos aren't getting seen in the best possible way. This is one way to almost have a certain, like, 9.9 out of 10 success rate that your value video is going to get seen. And it's you sending the fucking value video to their front door. Excuse my language, but, like, literally that's what you're doing here. And it works extremely well. The reason why it works extremely well is because, like, even put yourself in these shoes, right? Let's say I sent a value video specifically for Dustin, or specifically for Ashley or Colby, to your front door, and walked you through what Lifestyle Wealth was all about. And if you want to have a call or you want to inquire more about it, here's a call to action. Regardless of you, if you take me up on that call to action or not, like, there's a as long as you get this, there's a 9.9 out of 10% chance that you're actually going to consume it, right? You're actually going to hold it, you're going to open it, you're going to watch it, because this isn't just an email, this isn't just a Loom video, like, this is sent to your front door. Now, Obviously there's legwork involved in this, right? Obviously you got to spend a couple of bucks to be able to get something like this. You've got to upload the value video to the essentially MP4 stick. That is what this is. And then you got to send it, right? You got to go to the mail office and then you got to send it. So obviously there's a couple of steps involved here. But this is one way, like specifically for your one-on-one coaching clients and specifically for your highest ticket offer. For some higher level clients that I've worked with in the past, this is something that has worked extremely well. Now, a couple of things. Again, steps 1 through 3 need to be applied before you try something like this, right? Because one, you need to have dialogue with the ideal client. Two, you need to like call in clients and make sure that they know that. Three, you want to personally invite them. That's exactly what you're doing here. And you need to get their mailing address. But if you get all of those things, so check mark all across the board, they're an ideal client for one of your one-on-one high ticket coaching offers. Potentially, and not everyone has to do this, but this is an option for you. Potentially, this is one of the best ways to privately invite someone to your one on one coaching. And it's an individualized invitation. It's a value video. You're making it specifically for them and you're sending it to their front door. And it gets seen and it gets eyeballs and it gets responses better than anything that I've ever done in marketing or in client acquisition. So it's the value video, but it's a physical value video, which is pretty cool. I'm sure some of you guys may have seen something like this before. It is like some different companies use it in some different ways, but for one-on-one coaching and for individually inviting some people to your one-on-one coaching, this is one tool that you can have in your tool belt to be able to do that. Now it takes planning and it takes foresight, right? Like so for example, if you know by let's say the end of October, so let's give ourselves a little bit of a runway. By the end of October, you want to have your next 5 one-on-one coaching clients and that's your goal. Okay, great. So what I would do, it gives us about 45 days, right? What I would do is I would have conversations with all your leads. I would plan a promo strategy to publicly call in clients at the end of October. And I would make sure that you're strategically picking probably 10 to 15 people to be able to send out these video mailers to. And I would send it to them by mid October so you can start having sales calls at the end of October, right? That's how I would kind of plan this out. Again, great way to get on people's radar and something that works very, very well. It depends which company you go with. So, not to get too much in the details because that's not really for today's call. But if you just Google video mailers, there will be like 10 to 20 options that come up for you. There's a ton of different companies that do it. The one that I have experience with, and I'll show you with some of the one-on-one clients that I've worked with, is Mark, MARC, which is not coming up. Mark Media. So these ones I personally have experience with. They do a really, really good job. They're like $12 each. So again, and depending on what shipping looks like, you got to spend a little bit of money. But does a really good job in terms of you just plug in your value video. You can there's like a USB cord to this video player to your computer, and then you just upload the downloaded Loom video, and then boom, it's on here. And then you send it to your leads individually. So this is one company that does a very good job with it. This is one thing that you guys could do as well and at least try out. And you can do your own branding as well, right? You put your logo on it, you put your colors on it. Yeah, you can make it your own in terms of your company. So one option you guys have, as you can see, there's a ton, so you guys can look through different options for you. But if you guys really want to end 2025 with a bang and yeah, make sure that you're doing well on the client acquisition end of things, that is one option that you guys have available to you. So with that being said, guys, I want to leave a little bit of time at the end for Q&A. So just quick recap. Dialogue with leads. Like keep that consistent. Going back to three golden habits, right? Your sales golden habit. Like this has to be a standard, or else you're just not going to see the consistency that you want. Calling clients at the end of every month. If you want five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10 more clients before the year ends, have this as a standard at the end of every single month. Individually invite clients at the end of month. EOM means end of month. And then bonus, if you guys want to have a higher success rate, and send out some video mailers to some people on your pipeline, or people that you're talking to, you can absolutely do that as well. And that's something that I've seen a very high success rate with some other clients, and something that would work very well for you guys too. So something to have in your tool belt for sure. But anyway, those are the four main elements for today's training, and just reverse engineering the main factors, right? The main pillars for client acquisition, especially to end this month strong. So before we end, guys, questions, clarifications, anything you guys got for me? Everyone good?
I think
All
right
right.
now, I think we are, yeah.
That was easy. Good stuff. All right, guys. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory to be honest. Nothing really new per se. More so reminders, but I mean, at this point, with where you guys are at inside of Lifestyle Wealth, it's more so executing the playbook, right, than it is new strategies per se. And that's essentially what this is that I just walked through. There's a couple of differences, but yeah, just some different elements that you guys can go through. So share your wins as you guys are going through this. Share your wins, and if there's one thing I know to be true for all you guys, and just everyone watching this replay as well, when I post it, is that you can be more consistent with calling in clients, and you can be more consistent with individually inviting people to your coaching. Those are two action steps that are light for everyone across the board. And if you want more clients, you got to do those two things more, just more consistency with that. And yeah, just reverse engineering it more, because there's the quality over quantity conversation. You definitely want to make sure you have quality with everything that you do, but there is the argument to be made that you need a little bit of quantity in some areas as well, right? Like if you want five new coaching clients by the end of this month and you're converting at 50%, just as an example, if you're not sending out minimum 10 offers, you're just not going to get five clients, right? It's very, very simple math. It's very simple. So that has to be like your laser focus at the end of this month. That's just a hypothetical example, but just to talk about the quality to quantity relationship, that's key. It's key to have in the back of your heads. So, anyway, anything else that comes up, guys, obviously let me know. Share your wins inside of the mastermind as well, inside of the school community. And oh, last thing. So I announced this in the group yesterday. Not next week, but the week after that, we've got Dr. Dan Gardner coming on, which is huge, pretty big.
It's
He's
sweet.
like,
That's so cool. I was gonna ask you about this.
yeah, yeah, man. Pretty wild. I actually wasn't expecting it at all. I actually reached out to Vitality and I was like, hey, can someone on your team come on, like just an employee? Can someone on your team come on and train my clients on blood work and how to be able to order labs for one-on-one coaching and blah, blah, blah. And they got back to me right away. They're like, yeah, we'll get Dan on. I'm like, okay, great. Founder of the company. Yeah, let's go. So anyway, make sure you guys make time for that. It's yeah, on the 25th, I believe, at 11 a.m. Eastern. Definitely carve out some time. He'll walk us through the platform, and he's also going to do a Q&A at the end, which is awesome. So definitely make some time for that. And yeah, other than that, we will go from there. Have an awesome day, guys. Glad to have you on today's call. Any questions, just hit me up on school, and we'll be in touch as always.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Okay.
See
Thank
ya.
you.